There are stories whispered only when the night is thick, when the wind moves like a tongue through the reeds, and the moon hides her face behind clouds. Stories about the gods who never died, only slept, waiting for the desperate to wake them. Zuri had never believed in such tales. Not until she met the god that lived beneath her floor. They said the serpent god, Orokiengwa, could grant riches beyond measure, that his breath turned sand to gold and his eyes saw through every human heart. But every gift from the dark carries a price, and Zuri, in her hunger, did not ask what hers would be. She thought she was making a deal with a god. Instead, she was betting her own doom. In the end, when the moon refused to shine and the river rose black as oil, Zuri learned the one truth her grandmother had once warned her. Some gods don't bless you. They consume you. The village of Mbala lay between two hills, one green and alive, the other bare and cracked like old bone. The elders said one was blessed by the ancestors, and the other cursed by something older than the sun. Zuri lived closer to the cursed one. By day, she sold fruits beside the road. By night, she lay awake listening to the laughter of richer women, those with painted nails, imported wigs, and gold around their wrists. They were not better than her, she thought, only luckier. Luck. That was all she ever wanted. Her mother had died in childbirth. Her father drank his soul into silence. Zuri grew up hard, too proud to beg, too tired to dream. But one thing the people of Mbala knew: poverty has a smell, clings to you, and the world turns away from that smell. One evening, as she was closing her stall, a woman in a red shawl stopped by. Her face was hidden, but her voice was low and silky, like smoke curling through firelight. "You wish for more than these rotten fruits, don't you, Zuri?" Zuri froze. "How do you know my name?" The woman's laugh was like a rattle of pebbles in a gourd. "Names carry power. And yours has been whispered, down below." "Below?" Zuri asked. The woman leaned closer. "There is a God who listens to those who cry quietly. He does not live in the sky like the foolish ones you pray to. He lives beneath the earth, where tears fall and never dry. Bring him milk and blood, and he will lift your name among the wealthy." Zuri's breath trembled. "A god!" The woman's shawl shifted, and for a brief moment, Zuri swore she saw scales shimmer beneath her skin. "His name is Orokiengwa," she whispered. "The serpent of the hollow hill. You will find him where the soil bleeds red after rain." Before Zuri could speak again, the woman was gone, vanished into the market's shadows as if she had never existed. That night Zuri couldn't sleep. Her shack creaked under the wind, and the floorboards moaned like voices calling from below. Her stomach churned, hunger or something darker. When she finally rose before dawn, her decision had already been made. By the time the village awoke, she was gone. She walked east, past the fields and graves, until she reached the red hill. Rain had fallen the night before, and indeed the ground there bled red, as if the earth itself was wounded. At the hill's base, Zuri saw a narrow crack. From it came a faint hiss, long, slow, almost human. Her hands shook as she poured milk into a clay bowl and whispered the name she had been given. "Orokiengwa." The hiss deepened. The air grew heavy. Then, from the darkness, something began to emerge. Scales glinting like bronze under fading moonlight, eyes burning a deep gold. The serpent was enormous. Older than language, older than light. Zuri fell to her knees. "I have nothing," she said. "No cattle, no land. Only my body. But if you can make me rich, I will give you whatever you desire." The god's voice slithered through her mind, warm and poisonous. "Then come closer, daughter of dust. Let me taste your promise." The ground trembled as his body circled her. The air filled with the scent of burning myrrh and old iron. She closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, the sun had risen and the serpent was gone. In its place lay a single gold coin, bright, heavy, and impossibly pure. Zuri gasped. She clutched it to her chest and ran home. By the next morning, she had sold the coin for more than she had ever earned in her life. And that night she returned to the hill. Transition line for rising action section. But each visit made her dreams darker, and each coin she received came with whispers in the night. Because Orochiengua had not just accepted her offer. He had claimed her. The first week after Zuri's visit to the Red Hill felt like a dream she didn't deserve. With the coin she had sold, she bought a new stall, a proper wooden one with a canopy of bright cloth. People began to stop and look, asking how she had managed such change overnight. Zuri only smiled. Luck, she said. But luck in Bala was never that kind. On the 7th night, she awoke to the sound of dripping. Thick, slow drops hitting her floor. When she looked down, she saw milk pooling near her bed, and in it slithering lines of red earth. A whisper followed, gentle and deep. My bride forgets her vows. Zuri froze. She hadn't forgotten. She had only delayed. The market had been busy. She had promised to return to the Serpent God after 3 nights. She had not gone back. Now her bed trembled. The milk turned black. And from beneath the boards, a long scaled tail brushed her ankle. Zuri gasped, but then the voice soothed her again. Asterisk, do not fear, daughter of dust. Your God remembers you. Even when you forget him. The words curled through the darkness like smoke, sliding into Zuri's chest. Her body trembled, not from cold, but from something ancient that pressed on her ribs, squeezing her heart until it hurt to breathe. When she dared to look down, she saw it. The same serpent she had seen at the Red Hill, now enormous, its scales glinting like liquid bronze, its eyes burning with that same endless knowing. It coiled at the foot of her bed, the air heavy with the scent of soil and thunder. Why have you come? Zuri whispered. Because you took my gift and forgot your promise. Her lips parted, but no sound came. The serpent tilted its head. Your hunger was honest, little one. You asked for wealth and I gave it. But every gift demands its echo. Will you give me what is mine? Zuri tried to remember what she had promised. That night felt like fever. The chanting, the earth shaking, the cold kiss of scales. She had said she would serve, that she would be faithful. But she hadn't known what faithful meant. What do you want? She asked, voice breaking. The serpent's pupils narrowed to slits. A part of you, night. Your body beside mine beneath the earth. Only then will the balance be kept. Her skin went cold. You mean? Yes. The serpent's tongue flicked, touching her wrist. Do not fear. You asked for gold, not love. This is the price. She should have screamed. But the fear that crawled over her was not of dying. It was of losing the gold, the stall, the attention, the way people looked at her now with envy and admiration. Zuri had tasted power, and like all forbidden fruit, it was too sweet to abandon. She swallowed, her throat dry. If I agree, you'll keep blessing me. The serpent smiled, its fangs glistening like polished ivory. More than before. Your name will be whispered across Mbala. You will never beg again. And in that moment, half from fear, half from greed, Zuri nodded. The serpent's body began to uncoil. Its scales shimmered in the darkness, gold shifting into shadow, shadow into fire. It circled her bed once, twice, then lifted its head until its eyes met hers. Then come. The floor cracked open like a wound. Beneath her feet was not dirt, but an ocean of molten gold. Zuri gasped as invisible hands pulled her downward. The serpent followed, its body sliding after her in one unending motion. She fell into the earth's heart, where the air shimmered like breath, where no time dared move. Down there were no walls, only vast roots dripping with fire and blood. The serpent coiled around her, whispering in her ear, its voice no longer separate from her heartbeat. Wealth and devotion share the same tongue. Both must be fed. The ritual began. Gold seeped through her veins like fever. She felt it burning her from inside, replacing her warmth with cold brilliance. When the serpent pressed its face against hers, her world dissolved into white light, and then darkness swallowed everything. When she awoke, she was back in her hut, gasping. Her skin shimmered faintly under the moonlight, veins glowing with a metallic sheen. Her hands trembled. On her doorstep lay another gold coin. Then another. Then dozens. The serpent had kept its word. The days that followed were unlike anything the villagers had ever seen. Zuri became rich beyond imagination. Her stall turned into a full shop. Merchants from other towns came to buy her goods. They called her the woman blessed by the gods. Even Elder Jabari began to visit her, pretending he'd always believed in her destiny. Children stopped laughing at her tattered dresses, because now she wore crimson silks and golden bracelets that chimed like rain. But beneath her beauty, something had changed. Her eyes, once soft and curious, now shimmered faintly green under sunlight. Her laughter sounded hollow like an echo from far away. And every seventh night, the ground beneath her hut would hum, a low rumble like distant thunder, reminding her of the serpent waiting below. At first she obeyed the call. Each time she went to the red hill, the serpent would rise from the earth and coil around her in the moonlight. He called her his bride of gold. He whispered to her of kingdoms buried in the soil, of power that no mortal could hold. But the visits began to change her. Her reflection became strange, the corners of her lips curling when she did not smile, her pupils thinning like slits. Her skin sometimes shimmered with scales that disappeared when touched. Zuri tried to hide it. She prayed to the village's gods, but their shrines grew cold when she approached. Dogs barked at her at night. Chickens laid blackened eggs near her hut. Amina, her childhood friend, came to visit her one morning and gasped, "Zuri, what's happened to you?" Zuri only smiled faintly. "I am blessed." But Amina saw the truth. Zuri's feet left faint burn marks on the sand, and her shadow no longer matched her shape. When Amina tried to tell Elder Jabari, he refused to listen. "She is favored by something powerful. Leave her be." And so, the village watched from a distance, half in awe, half in fear, as the girl who once sold fruits became something else, something not entirely human. Months passed. The season changed. Then one night the serpent spoke again. "My bride," it whispered as she lay awake, "you have grown distant. You take from me but do not return. You feast on gold but not on devotion. Do you think you can cheat eternity?" Zuri clutched her blanket. "I've done everything you asked." "No," the serpent hissed. "You have taken without giving. And the balance must be restored." That night, the ground shook harder than ever before. Her shop's jars fell and shattered. The well water turned black. The villagers woke to screams, Zuri's hut blazing with green fire. When they rushed to help, the flames refused to touch them, curling away from anyone who dared step close. Inside, Zuri's voice cried, not for help but for mercy. And through the roaring fire they saw it, a colossal serpent made of gold and shadow, coiled around her, its mouth near her ear. Amina screamed her name, but Zuri turned her head slowly, and her eyes glowed with the same light as the serpent's. Then the fire exploded into the sky and went out. When the villagers entered, the hut was empty. No body, no ashes, only trails of molten gold flowing into the cracks of the earth. For weeks after, the village lived in silence. The air smelled of rain that never fell. No one went near the red hill. But Amina couldn't rest. She felt her friend's presence, not alive but not gone either. One night she followed the wind carrying a sound, a whisper faint but desperate. It led her to the red hill, where the sand shimmered as if alive. When she stepped closer, she saw it. Zuri, standing by the tree, her skin pale and luminous like moonstone, her hair flowing as if underwater. Her eyes were hollow but shining. "Amina," she said softly. "You shouldn't have come." Amina's tears fell. "What have you become?" Zuri smiled, but her lips didn't move. "I wanted wealth. I wanted respect. He gave me both. Now I belong to him." The ground trembled. The serpent rose once more, larger than ever, its eyes filled with fire and sorrow. "She is mine," it said. "She chose eternity. But eternity is not kind." Zuri looked at Amina one last time. "Tell them," she whispered. "Tell them that every treasure has a tongue, and it will speak your name until you drown in it." The serpent opened its mouth wide, and Zuri walked willingly inside, her form dissolving into gold dust that scattered across the desert wind. The serpent turned to Amina. Its voice was softer now. "Do not mourn her. She wanted what mortals always want. More. And more is what devoured her." Then it sank back into the earth, and the sand closed above it. The moon broke through the clouds again, the first time in weeks. But it shone with a dull, sickly glow, as if mourning the one who had traded her soul for shimmer. In the days that followed, Amina told the villagers everything. Elder Jabari gathered them under the baobab tree and declared, "Let this be known, the gods of gold are not gods of mercy." They built a shrine at the Red Hill, not of jewels, but of plain stones, carved with Zuri's name. Every year after that, when the moon turned pale and the night fell silent, the villagers left offerings of salt, not gold, to remind the serpent that they had learned. Sometimes on quiet nights, the wind carried a soft voice through Mbala, a woman's sigh, heavy with regret, echoing from beneath the ground. And in that voice, the children of the village heard a warning. "Beware the hunger that wears the face of hope. It will promise light, but it feeds only the dark." Zuri had become legend, the bride of the serpent god, the woman who traded her body for fortune and paid with her soul. Her story was told for generations. Parents whispered it to their children when greed glimmered too brightly in their eyes. And whenever a traveler asked where the serpent's gold was buried, the villagers only smiled and said, "It's still in the Red Hill. Go find it, if you're ready to lose everything else." She slept with the snake to get money, and this happened isn't just a tale of terror. It's a reflection of how far desire can pull us from our own humanity. Zuri thought she was chasing fortune, but in truth, fortune was chasing her. Remember, in every promise made in desperation, something ancient listens. And when it answers, it never leaves empty-handed. If you enjoyed this haunting African folktale of greed and punishment, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because in every corner of Africa, another tale waits to be told, and not every ending is merciful.